And you know, our young boys, I'm always excited when I see a young guy and he's got on his slacks and maybe he's got on a nice button down. I want to say, hey, bruh, you look nice. But then, you know, I don't want to get called a cougar, so I just...
The misconception is that being a gentleman is just about being polite or courteous to women. In actuality, to be a true gentleman means that you have respect for your fellow man, so it encompasses men and women. Style is something that you evolve into. It's about your personality. It's about how you live your life.
Welcome to the next episode of the Gentleman of Style Show. I'm Baldwin.
And I'm Creech, and today we've got a great guest for you. Always, we try to bring you somebody new, somebody fresh, somebody who's doing something.
Exactly. She's an author. She is an accountant. She is a teacher. And I don't know, she might be, working on the next satellite to go into orbit. Who knows? Elon, give her a call. She's doing all types of stuff right now. So, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, go ahead, man.
I'm just saying, she's doing so much right now. Yeah. I'm just really anticipating when getting in and giving her, our full divided attention, because I want to get into her psyche and find out why does she do the things she do, why is she where she is right now? How can she share with us and build us and push us to the next level? I mean, I'm very interested in that.
Well, let's bring her on out. So our guest today on the Gentleman Style Show is Miss Shelly
Roselle.
See, now you messed me up. Anyway, our guest on the show today is Miss Shelly Roselle Clark.
Come on, y'all.
How are you gentlemen doing?
Welcome to the Gentleman Style Show.
Thanks.
How are you doing?
I am well.
First of all, I see the pearls.
Yes.
Is that for a reason?
Yes.
I see the pearls.
I'm celebrating our second in charge, second in command.
All right.
Kamala Harris.
There you go. That's good stuff.
Miss VP.
Yes.
Yes,
Miss
Miss
VP.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going through some great times right now. Very pleasing times. I was very pleased that everything happened the way that it did. Very pleased.
Well, based upon what we've been, I'm ecstatic. So
These are extraordinary times. There's a lot happening right now.
How does that make you feel?
Seeing her, Kamala Harris, as the second in command, the Vice President of the United States of America, it makes me proud as a woman, and more specifically as a black woman,
Right.
to see what looks like me in the second highest office in the land. I'm excited about what the future holds. I hope that we all just come together and make these United States great. It's a great nation. you know, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else, but we've got to come together and make this thing work. We've got to build from where we are now.
Exactly.
What were your thoughts, just thinking about that, what were your thoughts when the president now selected her as his running mate? Because there was a thought that he was going to select a black female. Then some thought, well, that's just talk. But then he made it official and said, that is my intention. What were your thoughts there?
You know, I kind of thought it made sense for him to do that if he wanted to take advantage of where I feel like the nation is going.
Right.
He had to do something to bring everyone alongside to support his thoughts, his ideas. And, you know, she was already very vocal.
Mm-hmm.
I think she presented well when they were in the debates. So, you know, even though they had a couple moments, I think it just made sense for him to do it. I feel like the country is ready.
Well, you know, I think he said that or I heard something, maybe it was just a media outlet, but I think maybe he said it. He's going to have the most diverse cabinet of any presidency.
Yes.
He's going to make sure of that, and I've seen
So far,
some of the people that he's putting into place into his administration.
Yes.
It's very diverse, and it's very diverse, and a lot of those people are of color. I mean, honestly.
Of course.
Hispanic, black.
Right.
And there's quite a few women.
Yeah.
I feel like it is very important that
Mhm.
we see ourselves represented in areas that we've not seen ourselves before.
Right.
That way we, you know, think about the little girl that sees Kamala Harris, that sees Michelle Obama.
Mhm.
She realizes that she can be whatever she wants.
What about Michelle coming out there? Did you see?
Oh,
You know what I'm talking
about?
Did you see that?
Michelle,
Looking like a superhero.
oh,
Superstar.
Looking like a
Super-
superhero.
I was like,
That long coat and that thing started to float. And look, and Barack got him by that arm, but they walking. I was like, see, that's what I want to be when I grow
best
up.
president
You know what I mean?
and first lady ever.
they really make
Rock
me feel so just proud.
Me too.
Proud.
Me too.
Proud.
It makes
Me
me
too.
want to be a better woman, a better person.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I really feel like they have inspired a new generation.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, you know, each generation has its own fads and
Mm-hmm.
dress code, and, you know, we've all done crazy things
Right.
in our teens. But I really feel like this next generation, seeing themselves represented in ways that we may not have seen, is going to inspire them to greatness.
Yeah, I believe the next generation is more blended from an ideology standpoint than any generation prior to that. You know, and I think we were discussing the Floyd incident earlier and everything.
Oh, yeah.
How it wasn't a lot of older people out there. There were a lot of young people out there, and they're not having some of the things that have been put into place in the past. So, I mean, I think there's a shift. There's a great wave shift that's coming over and everything. And, you know, just to play devil's advocate, we understand how the other side, why they don't want things to change. They want to maintain the status quo and, you know, the power structure and all of that. I understand. We understand. We get it. We get it. But it's not going to work like that. The majority has proven, as far as from a voting and actually a factual standpoint, even though the dynamics of the demographic is one outweighs the other, the mindset has shifted. It is not the same as it used to be.
It's completely different.
Right.
If you look at the folks that were out there walking arm in arm, hand in hand, they were all races.
It was all races.
Yeah, all colors.
That's powerful.
And it was totally powerful, and it was, you know, almost a spiritual thing happening to see. Yes, to see everyone come together all at once for the same cause. Now, it's unfortunate that the George Floyd experience happened, and that it took something like that to make people come together in that way. But I think that they're inspiring. I was inspired
Me
by
too.
seeing them out there in the peaceful protest.
And you know what? I'm
Peaceful
gonna tell you what
protest.
struck me even over and above that. The world was with them.
Oh yeah, oh
The
yeah.
world.
The world. I mean, there were, and not just the celebrities, because you know sometimes it's easy for the celebrities to come out, but when I saw some of the celebrities with boots on the ground, they were right there walking alongside, you know, some of the youth and folks in other countries holding up their signs, you know, wearing their shirts saying, "I can't breathe." Well, it was hard to deny what happened because we all saw it live.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, social media is powerful,
There.
you know, but it makes me think about all the other knees on the necks that weren't captured.
Broadcast, yeah.
Well, that leads me to my next question for you, and I would like to ask you why. We were talking off camera earlier, and you started writing. One day you were like Forrest Gump. You just started writing.
Started writing.
Well, before we get to the writing, 'cause let me step back in time. First of all, tell us where you're from.
Oh, sure. I am originally from Bluefield, West Virginia.
Bluefield?
Go Bluefield.
I don't know nothing about
Don't they have a
Bluefield.
penitentiary in Bluefield? A boys' penitentiary?
There's actually a women's penitentiary. It's in Alderson, West Virginia.
It kind of rung a bell. I was going through that area one time. All you see is like cows and hills and stuff. Is that right? Okay.
Yeah, it's the country.
Yeah. So
I haven't had the pleasure of going through
I
there.
digress. Go on.
Look,
I'm sorry.
if you go from North Carolina and you're traveling to Ohio, you have to go through West Virginia.
Never traveled to
So
Ohio, really.
look, come on now. Look.
Not in a car. If I gotta go to Ohio, I gotta get on a plane.
All right. Well, after this, I expect you to ride up 77 North, and go into Bluefield, West Virginia.
Okay.
It's a small
Now,
town.
what am I gonna do there? Like,
You can ski.
Can you really?
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
There's skiing. We have some really beautiful places to see. The waterfalls. There are a lot of people who drive up that way simply to see the greenery and the trees and the mountains. Certainly, I didn't appreciate that as a kid. You know, you don't.
Mhm.
But it's always nice to go back home, see family. But I've been in Charlotte since 1999, so I'm technically a Charlottean at this point. So
Charlottean? Is that what
Yeah.
they call?
I think that's what they call us.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
So what was it like growing up in West Virginia? Like, what was the?
Oh
you know, I know you said it's a
gosh,
small town, but what was that atmosphere like?
it was very. I loved it. Just it was its own village, if you will. You know, everybody. You know your neighbors.
Okay.
You played with the neighbors' kids. We'd walk across town to my grandmother's house. You know, at night we're playing outside catching lightning bugs. Remember the little lightning bugs?
Oh, I've done that.
Yeah, we catch lightning bugs, play kickball in my grandmother's field.
For all y'all that don't know what a lightning bug is, it's an insect. And
And the
It
tail lights up.
has a little
Tail.
light.
yeah, it has like a chemical compound in them. At night times, they can squirt the little compound and mixes inside of their kind of like their buttocks type area, and the chemical reacts and it lights up. So, and we call them lightning bugs. I'm pretty sure there's some
That's
type
not
of scientific.
I'm sure that's not the technical
Right.
name.
Yeah, I'm sure there's another name for them.
In West Virginia, we call them lightning bugs.
And
North
in North Carolina, we call them
Right.
lightning bugs. That's right.
Okay, okay.
That's a universal term in our culture.
But
Yeah.
go on. I'm sorry.
So it was just a joy to grow up with family and friends. Everybody was family.
Mhm.
I mean, the neighbors weren't just neighbors. You were family. You shared everything. And at my grandmother's house, that was the place to be where, you know, the neighbors could come over and everybody was going to eat. It didn't matter
Oh, yeah.
what was cooked. It always seemed to stretch. It always seemed to be
Right.
enough.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful that I was brought up in that small town because it really instilled in me the importance of faith, the importance of family, just those small town ideals, just loving on people. Not that we don't have that here in the city,
Mhm.
but you know, you can go to your neighbor's house and borrow a cup of sugar and, you know, get invited over for
Dinner.
dinner or whatever.
Mhm.
Here, you know, you may not necessarily go to the neighbor's house for a cup of,
No, you better go to the store.
yeah, you better
don't know-
go right
you
down
don't know-
Harris Teeter.
Right, you don't know who the neighbors are these days. You're still not.
Mm-mm, no,
Exactly.
no.
Exactly.
But to transition to the book, can we transition
Yes.
to the book now?
Transition to the book.
Okay.
It's okay if we transition.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't get any background on where she was from, so we need to get
We're
that.
just trying to get permission to make
Oh,
sure it's
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, it did happen organically. I was attending Elevation Church at the time,
Mhm.
and was becoming a part of their follow-up team. And the leader at the time asked, "Hey, why do you guys want to be a part of the follow-up team?" And he wanted us to, you know, think about it, write it down, you know, just to make sure we had our minds right about what we were doing and the why we were doing it. And I remember writing down that I wanted to catch those that might fall through the cracks. So from that thought of catching the people that could potentially fall through the cracks, that just kept resonating with me. And life beyond the cracks, beyond the cracks. And that's where I came up with the title of Beyond the Cracks.
Beyond the cracks.
Because it just kept, you know, you have a thought and it just won't leave you
Go
alone.
away. It will not go away.
Yeah, and I knew it was something that I believe God was calling me to do, because I'd been in that place where I felt like I'd fallen through the cracks of life before. And I thought, if I felt that way, even as a believer, surely there were other people who found themselves in that place
Mhm.
and needed some guidance.
Right.
So I felt like through my Hallmark work that I was just blessed to share and hopefully lead people beyond whatever cracks of life that they find themselves in.
So after you wrote the book, and once you were done, how did you go about trying to put the book out? What was your first steps to try to share your work with everybody?
That's a great question. I was lucky enough to find Leadership Develop Me, and Dr. LaWanna Grant is the CEO of Leadership Develop Me. She helps people to package and publish their books. So through collaborating with her, it took, you know, a 30-minute conversation of, hey, this is what I want to do. I don't have anything written yet. And actually, she said, that's a good thing, because it gave us an opportunity to really start from scratch, get my ideas, and get an outline. So from start to finish, it took about a year. That's everything. The writing part, I was maybe 10 months, maybe.
So you like step by step, you found her first.
Step by step, the first thing was the whole concept of Beyond the Cracks had come to mind.
Okay, that was first.
Yeah, the idea of it. And also my mom, she had always said, I want to write a book. I'm going to write a book. So given that my mom had always wanted to write a book, and this thing on the inside of me that just wouldn't go away of catching those that fall through the cracks,
Right.
that prompted me to reach out to Dr. Grant. I reached out to her, we had a conversation, and from there developed an outline and a timeline for, okay, you need to have this by this date. That way, you know, you give yourself enough room to write, but you don't want to give yourself room enough to say where it's just an idea. You want to hold yourself to those timelines. And
So you did an outline, and then you did once you had the outline, then you did a timeline correspond
I
to
had
the
an outline for, okay, these are going to be my chapters. I got 9 chapters. And
Your timeline was to complete a chapter by X.
by a certain time frame.
Okay.
And, you know, with this being my first time, I thought, well, should I focus on a number of words? Should I focus on number of pages? And she told me just write until you feel like you've exhausted what you're writing about in that one chapter, because you don't want to say, oh, I got to get 10 pages here, and then you start to just
Try to create something that doesn't go with what you're
it's
trying
not
to.
organic.
Right.
You're just trying to fill the pages.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
I see.
So
write until you're exhausted per that thought for that particular section.
yes.
Okay.
I wanted to pour out onto the page everything that needed to be in that particular chapter.
Right.
So, and for me, I like to, I feel like I'm a vivid writer. I like to paint the picture
Very descriptive.
so that you feel like you're there with me, or at least that's what I'm trying to do with my writing. I think that helps you to connect when you paint that picture for the reader. So sticking to that timeline, developing your writing, making sure that you've got a great beginning, great conclusion.
Right.
Then comes the work of, okay, what's my cover going to look like? So yeah, developing the cover and writing your bio and all that good stuff. It took me to places that I didn't expect, because when you start trying to figure out, okay, who is Shelley, and having to put that on paper, and then working with someone to develop a website or this or that, or are you going to do it on your own, and
Right.
how do you get it out there? I've learned so much in just developing this whole process. It's built me. My skill set is greater today than it was.
Right.
Yeah, because
Right.
I'm like, there are things I know how to do today that I didn't know how to do 2 years ago.
Right. And you're better for it.
Oh, I'm better for it.
Right.
And the beautiful thing about it is I'm able to share that knowledge with other people, because I feel like I'm an open book. If someone wants to know how to do this, or who did your website, or who did, I feel like we are here to help one another.
Let me ask you a question and everything, and I'll be remiss if I don't ask you this.
Sure.
For people that are out there watching, they
Sure.
kind of understand as far as, okay, how do you go about doing this? What is your financial obligation in that in order to get that done?
At the very beginning of the process, in talking with her, Dr. Grant, after developing an outline, okay, this is what it's going to cost. You talk about that up front, and it's different for everybody.
Okay.
If you're writing a novel, if you're writing something with 20 chapters, or if you're writing a small journal, the cost associated with that depends on what you're trying to do.
So what type of money are you thinking about? Just from what you did, or can we get like an idea?
Yeah, you can get an idea. I think that you can easily start out with $1,000.
Okay.
You can.
Okay.
You can start out with $1,000.
And what is that breaking down and paying for 1,000?
That's breaking down everything with them doing the editing for you, developing the cover. Now, if you want something more elaborate, depending on, and this is another important part, what kind of editing do you want?
What is that?
Do you want soft editing where someone is just reading for grammatical errors? Do you want someone to...
Oh, see, that's good information right there.
Yeah.
Go on.
Do you want someone to edit it in such a way where they can build on to what you have? Not write it, although you can get someone to write for you.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, depending on the amount of editing that you get, that cost is going to go up.
Okay, that's good. See, I never thought about it like that. There's different levels of the editing process that you can increase in order to add more depth
Yes.
to your work
Yes.
on that.
Yes.
And it makes sense now that you're saying that.
Yeah. It's not... I thought once I had the book written that, okay,
You just need somebody to proofread it, or
yeah,
and okay, we're good.
the work is done. That was so not
Right.
the case.
Yeah, because I guess someone could come out and they could, if they're understanding in the same realm, they could add more to your body of work and everything, you know.
Well, and even the way that you have it organized.
Right,
You know,
right.
the way that you're writing it, I went through a process of, you know, what I had in the third paragraph may have ended up at the beginning
Right.
by the time it was all said and
Right.
done. And when I'm going through the editing process, if something just didn't sound right, or maybe this was a run-on. One thing that is really important was adding scripture into the book. When I was adding it, I didn't always add where I had gotten the scripture reference. Meaning, was it King James Version? Was it the NIV version?
Right.
So, you know, I may have Psalm 1 and 1, but what a person is reading, was it King James Version? Was it NIV? So I had to go back and make sure that I had my references correctly from that perspective.
Right.
Yeah. I enjoyed working with Dr. Grant because she was very easy to work with, very thorough in explaining the process. You know, we got the outline, here's the timeline, here's our expectation, we'll develop this for you. You know, we'll need your bio by this time frame, or do you want us to write something for you? It was just an easy process to work with Leadership Develop Me. But the work after the writing of...
Right, there's more. See, because I've always thought...
there's work.
Yeah, I've always thought, like, okay, eventually I'm going to try to write a book at some point. And I think, okay, I'll just write the book, you know? But I never considered what we just learned just now from you about the different depths that you could go as far as in the post part of getting your book done, the different levels of editing and everything like that. And now that you said that, it just makes like really good sense if you want to go there.
Right.
If you want
right.
to go there, you know.
And the thing is, a lot of people self-publish.
Right.
There are many ways of getting your work out there, but for me, this process worked going through Leadership Develop Me because they secured the ISBN. They made sure that the work got on Amazon.
Right.
And made suggestions for how to develop my web page and all that. So she was such a great resource. But to each his own, as far as, you know, if you want to self-publish, a lot of people already have their book written, you know, and I'm sure that even with that, she can still work with those folks. It probably makes the process easier, but
Right.
there are a lot of things that you don't think about in the beginning, and how the process can be emotional as well, because, well, depending on what you're writing about. But I chose to write about my life, and
I can see that.
oh yeah,
Once you start really thinking about, you know, and really
Oh, yeah.
going and stuff that you may haven't thought about in a long time, and you can really go there. You can
the chapter about my dad,
Mhm.
that was an emotional chapter for me. And I remember calling my mom at 2 o'clock in the morning, and you know, we were talking about my dad, and I'm crying, and just because he passed away of pancreatic cancer.
Right.
But just reflecting on things like his death, and how I believe God gave us the opportunity to reconcile and find that space in time to come together. I felt like that was a gift from God, because you know, so many people, you find out your parent or your spouse or whoever, they've passed on, and you never have that opportunity to say, I love you, thank you. Or we had that time to share and to laugh and to reflect. So I really, even though the circumstances of him passing due to pancreatic cancer, it still afforded us the opportunity to talk and have those moments. But it wasn't always easy, because here you are having conversation with someone that he's not going to be here in another month, 2 months. So what do you talk about? It was hard to talk about future. Like, it's not like saying, oh, you're going to come to the cookout next month. He wasn't gonna be here.
Right.
Well,
you know, some of our greatest wisdom comes from the experiences that we've forgotten.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
My sister, and I've got 2 younger sisters, we reflect on so many things that he taught us.
And they probably touch on stuff that you might not have, maybe like.
Oh yeah.
then you'd be like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of those stories are hilarious.
Right.
I mean, some of those stories can be shared, and some cannot.
Right.
Some cannot. But it was a pleasure to share that story with the world, because it gave me an opportunity to revisit that relationship that I had with my dad, and share just a small piece of who he was. That'll go on in my writing. But in sharing some of the more painful parts of my life, you know, it gave me an opportunity even to heal.
I was about to say that, you know, those core feelings like that, that's how we grow.
Oh yeah.
That's how we grow. That's how we get the most growth.
Oh yeah.
You know, that's the real stuff.
You know, when you see the flower bloom, you know, that sunflower, and it's facing the light, you know, it took a lot for that flower to get to the place that it is. You know,
Absolutely.
I'm not a green thumb person, but if you're growing anything, it starts out in the dirt.
In the dirt.
In the dirt, in that dark place, in you know, some things that don't smell good, you know, but that helps it to grow.
That helps it to grow.
That helps it to grow.
Absolutely correct.
And we've been in the dirt.
Well, that's where we come from to a certain degree.
Yeah,
To a certain degree.
we've been in the muck, in the mire, and have found ourselves in some places that, you know, we never thought we would be, certainly. But through those experiences, we grow. I think we grow from those harder places.
Oh yeah, I think a lot of times as we go through life, we have all these different challenges, and we wish things were better. We wish things were a certain way. We wish we were in another position. But once we get to a certain position, we reflect and we look at how that helped us get to ultimately where we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
We can't look at it, this is where I think I should be. Ultimately, you will be where you're supposed to be.
I like to say that hindsight and perspective is 20/20, because once you've been through some things and you've had an opportunity to reflect, your perspective changes. My perspective on something that I went through at that point in time is not the same way that I choose to view that now, and you can look back over your life and realize that everything that has happened up to this point in time brought us to this place. And because of that, I can say I don't have any regrets. Even those hard moments, even those tough moments where, I felt like I wasn't going to make it. It's made me the person that I am today. And I feel like that's what gives me the strength, the courage, the ability to just be authentic with other people, because I know where I've been and I know the effort that it's taken to get to this place. And because of that, I desire to walk alongside other people to help them get to that place and realize, look, nothing is wasted. Nothing is wasted, not even the ugly parts.
What are people going to take away from this book? They go out, they get this book, they read it from cover to cover. What are they going to take away from this book?
The full title is Beyond the Cracks, Finding God's Grace and Mercy. But if I had to sum up the book with one word, I would say it's about hope. And I'd hope that the reader would come away with the thought that if she can get through it, I can get through it. If God has given her a purpose, I know He's given me a purpose too. There are so many people that feel like, they're unwanted. They don't have a space, a place in this world. And that is a complete lie. He created us in His image. God didn't waste that. There is a purpose for all of us. We need one another. Whether we want to realize that and acknowledge it, we need one another. I don't think it's any coincidence that practically the whole world felt like it shut down in 2020. Right. Even churches. But ministry has still gone forth outside the four walls. Why? Because we are the church. We are the walking Word of God. And I feel like ministry happens, this is ministry. I think that we have a new opportunity to build on something that we've never seen before. We never saw 2020.
No.
2020 was one big detour for all of us, but we've come through it. We're still going through it in many ways, but I just really feel excited about what the future holds, because there's an opportunity to make room and make space for what comes next, and just build. Use whatever you have in your hands right now. It may feel like it's not enough, but use what you have right now and just build on that.
Let me ask you this. Speaking of the future and building and, putting your hands, out there in order to do the work. Like when I first met you this evening, when you meet someone, you start kind of going over them a little bit. And to me, you seem, kind of like you could be shy, or you could be slightly introverted a little bit. You say that, but you don't know where I'm going. But yet you are a motivational speaker. So, how did you transition to that? Because to me, I'm gonna go personal for a second here.
Okay.
To me, some of the things that we do, like this show, for example, and everything, I consider myself as an introvert, and to speak on camera and to put myself out there like that is kind of therapeutic in a way to help me come out of my shell a little bit. So back to you, being a motivational speaker, you don't know everything, young man, but so tell me about that experience from you, because I felt like I had a common bond with you when I met you this evening.
Sure. It's funny. I feel like I'm an introvert extrovert.
You can be that.
Yeah.
That's what I am.
I'm kind of.
He's straight extrovert. Don't believe.
No,
Don't believe
I'm
Don't
a
believe
balance, because life
He
makes
is
you
not a
balance
balance.
that out.
He's
Because-
totally on the other
He's
side.
an extrovert. Okay.
Don't listen to him.
Look at him, he's busting in. You saw how he stopped me early and everything when I was talking.
I grew up as an only
Extrovert.
child, so
Oh,
I was
you're an only child.
Right,
I
so
am too, but
I was, stop,
he's a straight extrovert.
stop. So I was always by myself for a lot of the time. That's how I was hanging out with my cousins and stuff. So as I grew up, and being short and all that other stuff, I just stayed to myself most of the time. But as I grew up, I learned the balance of, if you don't speak, sometimes you don't get heard. So I had
Yeah.
to figure out that balance. So I like to say I'm a good mixture. Most people think they see all the extrovert part, because when I'm around, I'm myself. But I like to be at home and watch TV and be under the covers and not do anything. Not talk to people all the time.
Yeah.
So go
Yeah.
You ain't no extrovert, man. Tell him about that time you stole them chickens from Butts and Burns Farm and stuff.
I don't know what this guy's talking about. I don't
Oh,
know
I'm
what
sorry.
that
I'm
is.
sorry. That was fantastic, Mr. Fox and stuff.
This guy's on some problems. But anyway.
I consider myself an introvert extrovert. And the reason I say that is there is a side to me that is totally a homebody. I can Netflix and chill. Yeah, give me my t-shirt. Is he lying? No.
No,
You go ahead. You go ahead. You
No,
go
I'm
ahead.
gonna say this.
No, wait. Let me finish saying what she's saying.
She asked me a question. I'm saying.
I did.
okay.
I asked him a question.
She asked me a question. He can be that way. I don't know about the Netflix and chill, but if you give him some sci-fi stuff, you won't see him for 2 or 3 months. But go on.
Oh, sci-fi. Okay. Star Wars.
I dibble and dabble a little bit.
Okay. I can totally just, home is my element, but at the same time, I love people. So, whenever I have the opportunity to, talk with and walk alongside other people, that just makes my heart leap. I feel like that's what I was created to do. And whether it's communicating with people like this right now, speaking, or through my writing, I just want to be able to share my life to help somebody else. And that is what drives me to be the extrovert that I am. I'm not really the life of the party type person.
But people are drawn to you.
Yes.
Conversate to you.
Yes.
I can see that.
I find myself in leadership positions, whether I try to, I'm not shooting for that, but it just lands there. And that's not an arrogant statement. I think that's when that's part of who you are, it just comes out.
Right.
When you're a leader, you just organically become that in whatever arena you're in. But believe it or not, yeah, some of this can be intimidating to me. Even though I've had the opportunity to minister to other people and, hold the mic in the pulpit, before I get out there, it's all the,
Butterflies.
oh
all that
yeah,
stuff.
I would think, okay, Shelley, you should be used to this, but no, I don't take it lightly, any opportunity that I have to speak and talk,
I get it every time I sit down to do this, or stand up to do this.
especially with gentlemen of style. You guys are sharp too. I mean, sharp.
We had to make sure that we matched your fly.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Matched her
We
fly.
match your fly. We appreciate when guests, when they come to our show and they dress up for our show. We appreciate it. That's not a requirement to do our show, but when people take it that seriously and they dress the part, hey, we love it because that's what this is about. We do it because we want to. And that's what that's what we do. That's the part of the platform. That's a part of what we're trying to bring back. We're trying to bring back the fact that it's great that a man can put on a suit or even dress nice
Yes.
and be seen as opposed to always the jeans, the sweats. Don't get it wrong. I love sweats. I love to be comfortable. But I actually love this too. So I'm comfortable in this too. So just trying to get men to understand, excuse me, whether you're a young man or older guy, you got to have that diversity within your wardrobe in your closet because we are different people. Sometimes we are, I don't really want to deal with people. I just want to be by myself. I just want to, sit back and watch whatever it is I want to watch and just chill. And then sometimes I want to get out there. I want to see my friends. I want to talk. I want to walk amongst the people. So you need to have that balance. And I try to teach my daughter that. Have that balance. It's cool to be home and, stay to yourself, but have that balance. Get out, go meet some people, go talk to some people that you don't even know sometimes, just to understand what other people do, how other people handle things in life, and it'll make you more well-rounded, make you a better person for it.
Well, he has to speak for himself. I don't have any other clothes other than clothes that I wear in suits. I don't have any other clothes. In 2022, all I'm wearing is Versace and Yeezys. That's it. That's all I'm wearing. Versace and Yeezys. That's all I'm wearing.
Okay.
Hey man, do you? I feel like
I'm just kidding.
I feel like if that's
I'm just
what you
kidding.
want to do
I'm just kidding.
and your pocket's gonna allow that, I say go for it, man.
Okay.
I say go for it.
There is nothing like a man in a suit, though.
All right now.
There's nothing like a man in a suit.
Is that right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh.
I think that if we could bring back that classic look, but you know what? Just a clean, shirt and slacks, just carrying yourself well, carrying yourself with a sense of pride. You may not necessarily have to have on a tie, but I think when you carry yourself with a sense of pride, that resonates. Whether you might have on a pair of jeans and a nice shirt, I think that you never get a second chance to make a first impression.
That's true.
So it's really important that you carry yourself in the way that you want others to see you. If you want people to see you as a young lady, then I feel like you should dress like a young lady.
Yep.
And our young boys, I'm always excited when I see a young guy and he's got on his slacks and maybe he's got on a nice button down. I want to say, hey, bruh, you look nice. But then, I don't want to get called a cougar, so I just,
So basically, we don't beat our kids anymore. I'm joking.
Oh no, see, y'all probably don't know anything about going outside to get that switch when you act up.
Come on now.
Get the
Come on
little
now.
one and come back in there if you want.
Oh no. If you get that little switch,
to. Go get the
your
tree.
don't
mama
know
is
nothing
sending
about
you
that.
back outside.
Get the
I know,
tree.
for the tree.
Here, go get the tree.
On that note, I try to understand the philosophy behind some of the changing ways. They always talk about spare the rod, spoil the child. And I've thought about it, and in my parenting, I kind of went the old way as far as from a discipline standpoint with my first child. But then, as I evolved and I became more wise about it, I started to understand that's not the only way to get things across to your kids. If you're tactful about it and you move and you lay the foundation in a certain way, you can be just as effective with your children by speaking to them and letting them know and giving them examples and really kind of showing them without actually putting a pain point to it, and they will learn all the same. I mean, I know sometimes people don't have the perfect examples to go by on
Right.
that, and it's always
Right.
a learning experience,
Right.
especially for a new parent on that. But you know, I wouldn't demonize anyone for raising their kids however they
Of
deem
course.
to
Of
raise
course.
their kids. But you know, even though what we were just talking about, there was a seriousness in it. I think there's definitely a way to do it without adding, you know,
Yeah.
the whippings and all that type of stuff into
Yeah.
it. There's a firmness that you can apply.
Yeah,
That they're
that don't
what I'm
work.
saying.
Go out there and get a switch and whoop their ass.
Well, my dad, he didn't whip us. And I think that he felt like he would have been too heavy-handed, if you will. So he gave that job to my mom. Yeah. But, you know, and it's funny, my husband and I, we were talking about this just the other day, that that type of discipline and how that shapes a daughter's view of her father. What if your father is too heavy-handed? How does that shape you and future relationships that you have with other men? You know what I mean? Because that's the first place you learn how to have relationship. You see your parents and how you interact with your mother, how you interact with your father. But you know, there's no manual.
Right. There's no right. There's
Yeah,
no manual.
you learn as you go along. Now, I will say that my youngest sister got away with way more than I did. There's 9 years between me and my youngest sister.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's because by that time they were just like, okay,
It's whatever.
gone.
It sounds like similar to the stuff. Because
Yeah.
I told you the dynamic between my two kids is about the same as what you're talking about. Yeah, I think there's a definite learning curve there that you kind of absorb over that time span,
Yeah,
and then you move to the ladder of that, you know. But I mean, I don't.
but the two of you being only children, that's unique that you guys see, y'all relate because you're only children. I'm the oldest of 3 girls, so you don't have any idea what it's like being the oldest. I think the oldest child is held to a different standard.
I believe they are because they need that child to be the example.
Well, you're the first. So,
Yeah,
So you're the guinea pig.
Right, you're the guinea pig.
Exactly.
And you're the example for the rest of them.
You're
They
the
need to
guinea pig.
follow. So they put a lot of pressure on
They
you
tried it out on you. Well,
to
that
do the
didn't
right
work.
thing.
you
So-
know, and it has evolved into that because my sisters, both of them, they say I'm bossy. Whatever. I am. Especially
I knew you were gonna say that. I knew you were gonna say that.
especially with them. But you know, it's because I want to see them have the best, and I know their potential. So you know, you're not gonna be hard on somebody that you feel like, okay, there's no point in wasting my time on you. I want to see them live their best life, whatever that is for them. So yeah, I kind of mother them without being their mom.
Right.
Yeah, because I'll say, tell them to do something, and they tease each other and say, Shelly's your boss. And my middle sister, Sharon, is total instigator. She'll be the main one saying, Shelly is your boss. And, of course, my youngest sister, she ain't my boss. And I'll look at her and she's, yes, she is.
Have you seen that meme going around with the monkey from the Planet of the Apes? How he go up to the ear and he whisper, "Shelly, you the boss." Do you look at her like that? He whispered. Crazy. Anyway, move right along.
So what does the future hold for Shelly, the author, Shelly, the motivator, speaker, and all these things? What is the future hold?
You know, I feel like the future is bright. I'm excited about my 21-day journal that I'm writing. I'm also excited about the opportunities that I have already lined up to speak in 2021. So, you know, hopefully the world will open back up and we're not doing all of this virtually. But I'm just excited about the doors that have opened because of the book, and that the readers have found it helpful. You know, it's rewarding to me to hear from somebody and they'll say, you know what, Shelley, you came across so authentic. You know, I had this situation, or someone say, me too, I dealt with X, Y, and Z. And just knowing that my work has impacted someone and helped them to move beyond whatever cracked place they found themselves in, that's rewarding to me. But I'm just excited about what the future holds, and seeing this whole thing evolve. I don't want to I'm not going to put myself in a box at this stage of life. I feel like I'm just open for whatever it is that God desires me to do.
Because we don't put God in a box, right?
No, you do not put God in a box. Because, you know, we put him in a box with our own thoughts and ideas about what we can and can't do. We limit ourselves. I mean, God, he's got unlimited potential. I've got unlimited potential.
Right.
I'm created in his image, right?
That's correct.
So tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram under Shelley Roselle Clark. My website is www.beyondthecracks.com. My books are also on Amazon.com, or you can find it wherever books are sold.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for taking your time out of your busy schedule to come hang out with us.
It's been a pleasure, having you here. I think we all gain some valuable enlightenment and knowledge that we can share with other people that'll help them go to the next level and concrete some of their endeavors. And because, the reason why we do this show is exactly for that reason. Because here at the Gentlemen of Style Show, we believe in better. Until next time.
And go out and get the book. See ya.
GOS, the Gentlemen of Style Show.